Why are all these cities facing various stages of bankruptcy? One of the reasons is probably having to pay out all the settlements for police misbehavior. The picture you see in front of you is that of Mr. Arnold Black, a East Cleveland resident with a clean record. Unfortunately, he was driving a vehicle one night back in 2012 that was similar to that of a drug dealer. He was pulled over by East Cleveland Detective Randy Hicks and Officer Jonathan O'Leary. Detective Hicks was drunk at the time, and after searching the vehicle and finding no drugs, Hicks got pissed off and punched and beat Mr. Black so severely that he required surgery to remove blood from his brain. While he was beating him, he told Mr. Black that he was pissed off because he had to leave a bar where he was pounding drinks down, and he was going to take it out on him. This might have ended right there, but of course it didn't. The two cops knew they were in trouble because of the dash cam video they had. So they took Mr. Black to the police station and stuffed him in a closet, leaving him there for 4 days. He had no access to a bathroom. He wasn't given any food. The only thing he got over the 4-day period was a carton of milk. During that 4 days, an officer found him and let him make a phone call to his fiancée. And after the call, that officer stuck him back in the closet. His fiancée made 2 trips to try to get him out. The first trip that she made, she was told by the desk sergeant that Mr. Black couldn't have any visitors because he was under investigation. She came back later and was told that the jailer was, quote unquote, on vacation. Finally, it took a local councilwoman to get him out of the closet, but not out of jail. He was charged with cocaine possession, even though there was no evidence. And the funny thing about that was they got a grand jury to indict him. Again, there was no evidence. There was a dash cam video, obviously, that showed the entire traffic stop, but guess what? That video disappeared. The charges were ultimately dismissed, and Mr. Black filed a lawsuit, and the jury awarded him $22 million. Now, the city of East Cleveland is damn near bankrupt. So what do you think they did? Before the trial even started, they turned around and went to appeal the jurisdiction to a higher court. The person that made the appeal was City of East Cleveland Law Director Willa Mae Hammonds. She filed that appeal again before the trial even started, so she was aware of the trial. She didn't show up to the Cuyahoga County Common Pleas Court during the trial because she felt that the lower court had lost jurisdiction because of her appeal. She doesn't agree with the jury's verdict, obviously, and she said that the decision probably won't hold up. Her reasoning? Her reasoning was that in the Tamar Rice case, the family only got $6 million, and this guy is walking around. My comeback to her was the Tamar Rice family should have gotten $44 million because their son wasn't walking around, and this guy was entitled to his $22 million. There is no doubt that Mr. Black is entitled to his money. And both of those officers should have been indicted for crimes against a citizen: assault, illegal and unlawful imprisonment, and torture. But neither one of them were. Now, here's the kicker. Officer Hicks has resigned and is now working as a railroad police officer. He had previously been accused of murdering a prostitute, but his police chief, Chief Spots, had thwarted that investigation and harassed the detective that was assigned to the case. That detective was Detective McCurdy, and he had harassed him to the point that the chief ordered a SWAT team to raid his house. That police chief, Chief Spots, has also resigned. Funny thing, the FBI was called in, but they never investigated Hicks. Why Hicks wasn't fired is a mystery, and somebody else is going to have to figure that one out. All I know is there's a potential murderer walking around free on a law enforcement job. I've long been an advocate for a National Peace Officer Registry to stop these bad cops from landing in other law enforcement positions when they resign under pressure, and this just makes that opinion all the more important. The ultimate question is, where were all the good cops, or even a decent state prosecutor, who tried to railroad this guy with no evidence? Funny how they could get an indictment on this guy, but on the cops that killed Tamar Rice, there seemed to be insufficient evidence in order to prosecute them. Just another example of two different judicial systems. One where the cops have no accountability, and the other where all the evidence in the world doesn't help you to get justice.